I played WWE 2K24 early. And I am so excited to share my experience with you. WWE 2K invited us out to check out WWE 2K24 before its official release at the Royal Rumble. Me and a bunch of next makers got to play the game, and I will dive deep and let you know all the goods. We're going to talk about exhibition matches, the Royal Rumble, Backstage Brawl, 40 Years of WrestleMania, and the all-new ambulance match. We're going to highlight all the gameplay improvements, the new features, including one of my favorite, the free roam camera, and the ability to set the camera angle to the classic entrance ramp angle. This is reminiscent of SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain. You're going to love it. So strap in, get ready as we take a deep look at WWE 2K24. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to core gameplay, but I figured we'd start off with the Backstage Brawl. When we're talking about Backstage Brawl, we talk about the quality of life updates for this game. And that will be a theme that I'll hit on for a while here, is the quality of life updates, because they're really taking the core fundamentals that they had last year and just improving on that tenfold. When Backstage Brawl was introduced and it was updated last year, we knew that there were some features missing. There was glass in the back that you couldn't break, there was an elevator you couldn't use, and there's vending machines you could do nothing with, but they have improved that tenfold here. One of the big things is just the interactivity with that. I mentioned the glass. Yes, there is glass backstage that you can actually break. If you throw your opponent into powerbomb or whatever you want to do, the glass will break. The vending machines. That is a new feature. You go over to the vending machines, a water bottle will come out. You can pick up that water bottle, and you can actually throw that water bottle at your opponent, and it is so much fun. I love chucking weapons all the way across the backstage and just having fun with it. Another big backstage feature is the elevator. The versatility of that elevator from getting from the bottom floor all the way to the top in an instant is amazing. And the best part about it is that you can actually carry weapons with you in that elevator to fly up to the top and hit your opponent with. It's cool. It's great. It's a lot of fun. One of my things that I love to do is to take a table, put it all the way in there, go all the way to the top, and do some crazy stuff. Of course, all the interactivity from last year that was in Backstage is back in the game this year. But one thing that has been added is an ambulance, which I think is very, very cool. The ambulance match is new this year, but they do have it in the backstage where you can actually get in the ambulance, throw your opponent in it, climb on top of it, do a bunch of cool moves in there, and it just makes for a very, very fun experience. If they keep improving and improving and improving on the backstage area and making it just a little bit better each year, you know that it's going to be a lot of fun to play. And that's one of those things that just keeps improving in this game, is just taking what you already have and just making it better, and that really does shine here in the backstage area. We mentioned a little bit, but let's talk about the ambulance match. This has been a fan favorite request for years and years and years, is this ambulance match, and finally it is in WWE 2K24. This is all new, brand new. The rules of an ambulance match are to put your opponent inside, shut both doors, and you'll win the match. Simple as that. What's really cool is, as I talked about, there is an ambulance backstage. If you want to, you can take your opponent all the way backstage, put him in that ambulance, and win the match there. There's a couple cool tricks with the ambulance. If you're trying to put your opponent in it, you can Irish whip him in it, you could carry him, you could drag him, you could powerbomb him in it, pick him up, powerbomb, you know, all that fun stuff, and get him in there, and then you have to close the door. When you go to close the door, it'll go into a button mash sequence where you got to try and tap as fast as you can to close the first door, then the second door, and then you'll win the match. What's cool is that once you get your opponent in the first time, and if they get out the second time, when you go to put them back in, you're pretty much guaranteed to win the button mash again. You'll have to close the first door, but it'll be a lot easier because you already put him in the ambulance one time. And then after you get both of those doors closed, you'll win the match and you'll celebrate your victory. I think it's very, very cool that the ambulance is not only there at the ringside, but it also is in the backstage, which I think makes it very, very interesting. So you can brawl all around the arena, go to the back, get in that ambulance, and win that match. And honestly, it's just a lot of fun. It's one of those things where I didn't think I would really, really care that the ambulance match is in there, but it just adds a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun stuff in this game that makes me very excited to play the full version of the game. 40 Years of WrestleMania is back, and that's the 2K showcase that you know and you love and you've played for years and years and years. If you remember 30 Years of WrestleMania, well, it's quite similar to that, but we're going over all 40 years. The matches I actually had access to play were Rick Rude versus the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 5, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair from WrestleMania 39, and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39. If you're familiar with the showcase from last year, you will know that you are going to get into the match and try and win it, completing all the objectives along the way. As the match goes on, it'll switch from gameplay over to real footage, and you'll actually get to see the match play out, and you'll see how this match unfolds from WrestleMania 5, WrestleMania 39, 39, all the way from 40 years from the beginning to the end, which I think is very cool just to relive this, and then also unlock all those arenas and get those cool arenas from all the WrestleManias. That makes for a very, very awesome experience. I will say this, I will be honest, I've told the developers this as well. I did like in the previous showcases when they actually animated all the moves. One that I always think of is the Attitude Era one, where instead of cutting away to actual video footage, they would have animated cutscenes in game that they would actually play out. And they know this, but I also know that 40 Years of WrestleMania, that kind of thing, isn't my cup of tea. It's meant for more casual people who've never experienced some of these matches, or maybe just younger people that just want to get in and play it. But they understand that. I understand that. I know where it's going. I know why this game mode's in the game. But honestly, when they switch to the actual video footage, that kind of takes me out of the experience of the showcase for the 40 Years of WrestleMania. But honestly, I think it's very cool. The ability to get all those arenas is very, very awesome, and I'm looking forward to playing it. One of the biggest features in this game has to be the new free roam camera while matches are going on, and the ramp camera angle, which I think makes the game so amazing. When you have the ability to change the camera angle as the match is going on while you're spectating, whatever camera angle you want to do, you can change it. It's pretty much like the highlight reel camera angle, but think of it in real time as the game's going on and you're watching the match. It's very, very cool when you're doing a CPU versus CPU match, and it makes for some amazing looking matches. You can actually change it, set some favorites. You can have shortcuts, so you can set some favorite camera angles that you like, and then you can trigger them whenever pressing a button, and I think that's a very, very cool feature. The ability just to actually move the camera angle in real time is something that they wanted to do for a while. They said, we had these tools in the dev kit, and we felt, why not just put them in the real game? It's been a requested feature, and I think that's very, very cool, and it shows that they're listening to their audience. Now, not to just take away from that free roam camera angle, but also to add to it is the ramp camera angle that they actually added in the game, where you can actually just change the main gameplay camera angle to the ramp camera angle, where it shows an angle from the card cam being in the back, staring at the stage with you in the ring, which is very, very cool. Honestly, when you're playing an ambulance match, it's almost a must to do the ramp camera angle, because you can see the ambulance so much better when you're playing that match. And it's also very cool when you're just playing regular matches, because you actually get to look at the stage, and it's so cool to see how they did some of these stages. They're so huge, they're so elaborate, they're so big, and that camera angle just makes so very, very cool match. And it throws back to the old days. Like I said, here comes the pain. You remember it. That was the camera angle, and I think that's very, very cool that they harken back to those old days and say, yeah, we're listening to the community. This is what we did, and this is how we're going to make the game very, very fun. Again, if you run like a universe mode, a Twitch channel, YouTube, whatever it may be, you can change those camera angles while you're watching the matches, create something very, very awesome. Also, with that ramp camera angle, if you want to go into options and set that as your default, so whenever you boot up a match, it will be that camera angle, you can do that. It really does just make the game feel different. I don't know how to explain it. Just having a different camera angle is like, yeah, it feels different than what you're usually used to playing. And when you look at it for the first time, you go, wow, that's cool. That is very cool. It's very awesome. It just looks good. And I think the ability to move the camera angle around as the match is going on, something I never expected to want, never thought they'd put in the game, but it's very, very cool. And I love it, and I think it's a great feature. Now let's talk about the core gameplay features that make this game feel so much better than last year's game. Last year's game was great, it looked great, it played great, but they've improved on it and made this game so much more fun to play with just a few little details that I think add so much more to the game. And I'm not just saying that, I actually really truly do believe it. One thing that they did add this year is a strike exchange where you can actually go back and forth battling with punches. If you hold the punch button, you can actually initiate that, and then you'll go back and forth and try and win a battle. What's cool about it is that you can actually get into a hockey fight if it goes on long enough, and then you will struggle. It'll be a button mash thing, and you'll try and win it, and whoever button mashes faster will get that win and win that hockey fight. Again, this harkens back to that grappling, the chain grappling, if you remember that seems to make people very, very angry with that chain grappling. It initiated every time you would do a start of a match. I think it was 2K15, and then you would just not like it. It was like, oh, why are we chain grappling all the time, every time? I don't like it. Why is that a thing? But here, it's once in a match. When you hold X and you do that, you will get in that strike exchange, and I think that's very, very fun. It's something that I didn't expect to like, but I really do like it because only once in the match, and then after you trigger it, it never happens again. And it's just, you can do it early on in the match, you can do it late in the match, you can do it whenever, but it does add that kind of, oh, back and forth. Oh, here we go. Oh, then you can hit your signature, then a finisher, then boom, boom, boom. Bop. There you go. Awesome stuff, and I think that's very, very cool. Another huge feature this year that makes the game so much more fun is super finishers. That's right. Super finishers are a thing in the game, and I'm just thinking that I don't know the last time there were super finishers in the game, if they even were in a WWE game. I do know that Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 had some super finishers maybe, but as far as that goes, I can't really even recall what other game would have super finishers in it. But you have to build up 3 to get to a super finish, and then when you hit that super finish, it is almost like a game ender. After hitting it, it is almost impossible to kick out. It is not impossible to kick out, but it's almost impossible to kick out because this finisher does so much damage to him. It stuns him, and then you can actually go for the pin and try and get that win and win the match. What's cool is there's 4 super finishers you can set per person. Not every person has a super finisher by default, but you can set 4 different super finishers for any person that you want. You can go in and edit them, add them, whatever. But there are some very, very cool ones. I'm not going to spoil them, but the ones that I did see was the El Generico top rope brainbuster, which was really freaking awesome. I don't have footage of it, but it was really, really cool. And then Kevin Owens has a package pile driver that is just so good looking, and it's a super finisher, and the devs just go all in with that, and it's so good. It's like it's just a little detail of that super finisher just makes it so much better. I know Randy Orton has a couple of them. Seth Rollins has a couple of them. You'll have to play the game to figure out who has what or whatever. You can go into the options and check them out, but super finishers add so much more to the game, and it makes it feel like, I think this year there's going to be longer matches with people building up to super finishers and trying to hit that super finisher. I think that's just like inevitable, that's where it's going to be. If you play online, maybe that's something you're going to go for as well, but I think that's just a little detail to go, okay, let's go. Get a finisher, get a finisher, get a finisher. Super finisher, let's go. And it's different from any other time that you get a regular finisher. And I think it's just the little details. The little thing of that, which is like, Oh yeah, of course. Why wouldn't that be a thing in the game? And you see it, and it's there, and it's awesome. And I feel like that's what I'm getting out of this game. It's like last year's game, but just doing all the things in the right direction to make it just that much more fun. And speaking of fun, we have weapons. Weapons are back in the game, but we have the ability to throw the weapons across the ring, and that is awesome. You can take a shovel and you can throw it across the ring at your opponent and try and kill them, which I think is really crazy. Another thing is, with the weapons, you can actually go to the announce table. This is new this year as well. You can free roam, I guess is the word I'm using, where you can get on the announce table and just climb on it and do moves on the announce table. And it's just like a free announce table thing. You don't have to set them up, do them, whatever. You just climb on it, do moves. Also, small little detail, but I do like it. There's a water bottle sitting on the announce table. Pick that up. You can throw it at your opponent and you can hit him in the head. As well as throwing stuff, you can actually catch stuff. I had a match where I was throwing a chair back and forth with Macho, and we were catching the chair, and that was just hilarious. Throwing it, catching it, you got to time it perfectly, but if you catch it perfectly, you can throw it back, Sabu the chair in their face, and that is just so much fun. Again, those little details in the game, the strike exchange, the super finishers, the throwing weapons, the camera angle stuff, those are things where like, yeah, I didn't even know that I wanted some of those features in the game. And then when you play them, you're like, wow, it just makes the game so much better. There's going to be a slew of other things that I don't know about and a bunch of other features that I haven't actually experienced. But just the things that I got to see here and what I got to play just makes the game that much better. So the question you're probably wondering, is this game going to be good? Well, from what I played, with all the changes, all the small details they added to the core gameplay, the 40 years of WrestleMania, the ambulance match, and the Backstage Brawl improvements, I am very excited for this game. I have really high hopes that this game is going to be just very, very fun to play at its core, and that makes for a really good gameplay experience. I do want to let you guys know that this is not me just shilling out the game because I got to check it out. Honestly, playing this game was fun. I got to play with my friends. I got to play watching match, doing the free roam camera angle, and all in between, and I had a blast checking out this game. I wouldn't say that if that wasn't true, because I've been doing this for over 13 years and you know how it goes. I give you my honest opinion, and I think that we have something pretty good on our hands here going forward. And I know that this is just a building block, a piece of the puzzle to where they actually want to get to make the ultimate game. That's what excites me the most about this, is that yes, this game is getting better each year, and then we're just going to keep improving on it. We're adding ambulance match, special guest referee is going to be in the game. We're going to have so much stuff going on here that it's just going to keep getting better. And they're listening to us. They're hearing us. They're having fun with it. We know, because they're putting things in the game like super finishers that I didn't know I wanted, but I do want them. And I love that they're in the game, and I'm glad to play them. And it's awesome, and it's fun. And that's very, very cool. And that's where I get excited about this. And I want to know what you guys think of what you saw and what your excitement level is about this game going forward. Now that you saw some of the cool things that they're adding this year, I'm going to keep coming back with more videos, shorts, YouTube stuff, maybe even some streams here and there, just to lead up into WWE 2K24. I have a lot of cool footage, including a match I did with Brian Williams, where he talks about all kinds of crazy stuff they put in this game, why they put in the game, how they did this. We play a fun ambulance match. That video will be up on the channel. Plus, I have so much other cool stuff. I want to thank you guys again for sticking with me on this channel, coming back to this video, and letting me know what you think of WWE 2K24. Because honestly, if I'm not going to get your feedback, if I'm not going to listen to my community, then why am I even doing this stuff? So I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, and we'll be back with more WWE 2K24.